What's going on, Internet? And welcome to another ARFCOM review.
Bienvenidos.
We are going to be covering the sexy, albeit expensive, Beretta 1301 Mod Dos. This is their second iteration of the 1301 series of shotguns. This is the tactical model, so it's meant to do tactical things. We're going to talk about our experience, some other shotguns that are in this area, and then we did break it, so be ready for that discussion. But it's going to be interesting. I actually really enjoyed shooting this. This is probably top 3 for the past.
This is my favorite gun we have in the building by far.
We're going to get into some alternatives and some other stuff. But before we get to that, this is a quick word from our sponsors.
Today's video is brought to you by the Mark 15 Hydra, the most versatile black rifle platform the industry has ever seen. The most you will ever need to convert calibers is a barrel, bolt, and magwell. Changing is quick and easy, and the combinations are practically limitless. With one serialized lower, you can have any configuration you can imagine. And by TNVC.com, with the new Mars laser rangefinder from Envision in stock and ready to ship. It is a compact LRF packed with features including a 2,000 meter range, built-in ballistic computer, and Bluetooth. It features a red aiming laser as well as an IR ranging laser, which cannot be detected by most night vision devices.
Conceptually, for the uninitiated, the Beretta 1301 is a 12-gauge shotgun with a 3-inch chamber, so you can chamber up to 3-inch shells. It is a 7+1 magazine tube. It is also going to be a gas-operated system for being semi-automatic, and that you do and will have a bolt hold open, bolt release, all of that cool stuff. This does come with ghost ring sights in the tactical model. We got a couple different features where you can have a pistol grip, or
different stock with adjustable cone height, I believe. Yeah. Or you can get it in tactical peanut butter too, which costs more, but it's probably worth it.
This will come with a pick rail, at least our version of it did, and then most of them will also come with ghost ring sights. That is the Beretta 1301. It is in the like most tactical shotguns, it is about 18.5 inches in length on the barrel, and that's about how much it costs. More specifically, now that we're done with the higher level stuff, this is probably upper mid-tier in cost for a shotgun like this. There's only a handful that are more expensive. But I will say this is where it starts to feel like when you're paying more than $1,000 that you're getting more than $1,000 with the shotgun.
Yeah.
The Beretta 1301 is in an interesting space because they do have, and we'll talk about, the A300. There are examples like the M4 from Benelli that are probably in the same range.
100%. That's the only real comparison, like price-wise, just serious use-wise. I mean,
this Benelli really does scratch that itch when you're looking at a professional grade or a higher grade or a higher performing shotgun. That kind of all begins and ends with its gas system.
Yeah, they were saying it's 36% faster. On the flip side, most shooters are never going to be at the point where they're ever going to outrun the recoil system on any semi-auto shotgun.
Yeah, I think the reason why the cyclic rate kind of matters is I'm assuming it's a more efficient way. I don't know. Some engineer correct me in the comment section. I'm assuming it gives you more flexibility on what will run on this and actually get the bolt to cycle.
I agree, and I thought about that when we were shooting low brass birdshot.
Yeah, I was like, we had no issue. We were shooting very cheap low brass birdshot, and it just whoop. Everything would come right out.
It's that red stuff, you know what I'm saying?
I think where this also really kind of crushes, and especially when you're talking about use case, is weight. This is only at 6.7 pounds, which might sound heavy, but then you got to think the 930, which is the Mossberg 930s, at 7.5 pounds, and the M4 from Benelli, which is probably the closest to battery of arms, reliability, all of that you'll get, that's 7.8.
This reminds me of like an OG heavier. Like A2. Like it's like really light.
The grip texture did get better across the board, both on the stock and on the forend. I like that it's pretty much any touch point you might have for your hands. So it completely wraps around. The forend was probably the biggest upgrade. One, because it's a very aggressive forend texturing, but they also added 3, 6, and I guess that's
there's M-Lock on the 3, 6, and 9. We've got a Surefire Scout with a IR head on it here. My one gripe is that I would really have preferred if they put more M-Lock on the 6 o'clock bottom edge. That way you can have a way to put a hand stop behind your hand so you can leverage off of the hand stop to actuate your light or whatever else you got on the front of it. But I do think that the handguard's a huge upgrade. But I would love at least one more M-Lock rail right here in the middle.
Yeah.
It's not bad on the front, and you can put a hand stop on the front. but I find it easier to actuate the light when I can push off of it.
Also, a very qualitative thing for you guys that have the TISM, the magazine tube extension went from a one-piece to a two-piece, so you can take the front off without messing with that. The other upgrade is indeed the trigger pack. We did like this about it. So our bit of drama came in the middle of shooting, and basically to describe what was happening is that we chamber around. You'd shoot one round, and then you'd have a dead trigger and a dead crossbolt safety. So it wouldn't move, nothing. So the immediate action drill, if you want to call it that, is to punch out this pin, smack the thing, and put it back in.
I will say the takedown, at least for changing the trigger packs, is super simple. It's literally one pin.
Yeah. One, maintenance is incredibly easy, and troubleshooting it was incredibly easy. We did send the trigger back to Beretta. Apparently, the trigger return spring had fallen out of position and had gotten in the channel where this crossbolt safety goes, which is what was locking it up and causing that issue. It did happen, so we're reporting it because we're trying to give an honest review. We didn't have any other issues. Again, the other trigger pack works just fine, and it worked fine up until that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that was like 150 rounds in.
Something like that. So that's mixed. That was birdshot, buckshot. And it wasn't enough. I think as long as it got fixed, like you send the thing off, it gets fixed, and you have a serviceable gun, I wouldn't be that. The shotgun was so much better than everything else I had shot that is chambered in 12 gauge that I was here for it. But it's at least something to take into consideration. The second portion of this, and I think where this becomes a very compelling argument, is the barrel. And they do actually have an upgraded forcing cone on this. And to explain all this, it accepts chokes, but B, it's got a better forcing cone. So what that does, and you can go check out VanComp and they'll explain stuff like this, is that it allows the shotgun to pattern better. And shotguns are good for shot, which is like buckshot and things of that nature. And so when you have buckshot and you need to pattern your shotgun if you're going to use it for serious use, this will deliver a much more precise pattern. This, like we said, we have this outfitted with the Surefire Scout. That's the cool one. That's the Vampire.
Yep.
And then the Vortex Defender ST on top of it. We were beating that thing up. And then what really is going to hurt some feelings here is when we got to compare it side by side to the Benelli M4.
Yeah. To be fair, it is a significantly easier manual of arms and significantly more intuitive, in my opinion, than the Benelli, just based on how the ProLifter gate works on the Mod 2.
I liked it in terms of like the button size.
Oh yeah, not even comparison to the button, just a comparison to loading and unloading and trying to chamber load. When you get into the Benelli, you have to you need more training to be able to operate it well.
So for the nervous Nellies, for the uninitiated, normally in this specific instance, I've loaded my shotgun right, I have a full magazine tube, and I now have one in the chamber. So if for some odd reason I had to go and breach a door, or if I wanted to utilize something that wasn't what I already had in the tube, you do have a little cute button here that locks your lifter in the down position, which will also prevent your tube from getting pulled from when you go rack this little charging handle here. You'll notice also that the bolt release will get extended. You will pull down, it will lock you to the rear, which allows you to extract whatever round was in the chamber without pulling from the tube, and you can put whatever you want in the chamber, simply drop it and go. That is confusing in the moment if you have no reps. Or what would happen for us is we're trying to check to see if the gun is empty. We're used to bolt hold.
Yeah, and you're just sitting here like charging it. And it's
so
like, I think it's empty.
Why is it not doing
And then you push the
anything?
button. And it's like, just kidding. It's not empty.
Yeah, if you're not used to it, that's why the firearm safety rules are in place. But this would be the only way to do it. That battery of arms isn't crazy intuitive.
No.
It makes sense once you've done it a couple times. You're like, oh, this is why
This
they
is a
designed
gun
it
I
that
gotta
way.
like warm up on.
Yeah. I did think that one, the bolt release is probably the nicest one in the market across
Hands
the
down,
board.
compared to that little tiny circular button on the Benelli that you have to press a lot harder and perfectly on top of.
The biggest pain point from the M4 to this one is that button, because you probably have to pay for an upgrade
Well, yeah,
on
so
it.
you're going to have to buy the extended button or a replacement button. You're also going to have to buy the extended charging handle as well.
Yeah, that
And
comes
then
with that
I think
one.
there's people that are buying a enlarged crossbolt safety.
I actually really like the safety on this too.
Yeah,
Like,
the
it's
safety on
nice
this
and
is
big.
perfect.
Yeah. But I really think if you have the money and the decisions between the Benelli M4 and this this all the way. I do understand the argument for the A300 if you're not as concerned about having super incredibly precise patterns, and if you don't mind potentially having a different recoil system or gas system. I do believe it's able to be a faster cyclic rate, probably because this will accept a lot more types of loads. We did incredibly cheap birdshot all the way up
that
to
red stuff.
kind of goofy slug / buck / whatever disc stuff. We put a lot of junk through this shotgun, and it ran it all. We had no issues with reliability, minus us breaking the trigger pack. But that's a trigger pack problem. We didn't have any other issues with the rest of the shotgun.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these firearms companies are building new designs, right? And they're trying to innovate, and a lot of times things aren't perfect on launch. There's a big company that I'm thinking about has a couple of recalls happen, but in general, I feel like the community is really harsh when it comes to that. Granted, if the company doesn't have a good customer service experience after you bought an $1,800 gun and it broke,
I'd be pissed.
That's a different conversation.
I will say this was probably my favorite gun to shoot right out of the get-go.
It's my favorite gun we have in this building, hands down.
The 4570 was a blast just because it was something very unique and different.
If it was suppressed, the 4570 might be my favorite.
But if you have any experience with this and the A300, let us know what the differences were for you in the comment section. Or if you're like us and have shot both the Benelli M4 and this side by side, let us know what your experience was. If you also want us to do different types of guns or have any other follow-up questions, put it in the comment section. I do answer all of them regardless of if they're happy or not. And if you guys have more qualitative questions, you can always go to the forums, ar15.com. You get to go see sometimes the best and sometimes the worst of the firearms industry there. But go check it out. Where else can they find us, Bobby?
We'll be found on all the socials, Twitter, Instagram at ar15com, and we also have a Discord. The link is available down in the doobly-doo below.
For the love of God, if you're going to use a shotgun for home defense, please pattern it.
Please.